Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, PSA Graded Return number 8 of, well, some number that I have yet to decide. Welcome to another video. Hope you and family are doing well, friends, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I've been doing this for quite a while now, so I have my spiel pretty much well practiced, but long story short, 300 and blah 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 card PSA submission came back. We have tons of PSA graded returns. There have been 7 videos. Today's video will make 8 unique videos. We're doing about 20 cards per PSA graded return video, and yeah, not really much else to say about it. Let's go ahead and get on into it. In today's video, we're finishing up some Japanese graded cards, and then after that, I will be kind of like slowly but surely sneaking my way into the EX era of Pokemon cards. So if you know me, you know that I am very excited because the opportunity to do EX era stuff really was attractive to me. So with that said, I'm really very excited to do that, and let's go ahead and see what amazing cards we got. Now first up, as I mentioned, we do have some last minute EX era stuff. This is a Steelix. This is particularly Bruno Steelix out of the Japanese Versus set. As you can see, a really unique artwork here. I love the fact that Steelix is sort of like in the dark and the holo is really just cast on the ground. And you can actually see my finger in the reflection of the holographic. That's how mirror-like this holo is. So as you can see, a really difficult card to grade. It ended up getting a PSA 7, so not the highest grade, but definitely really cool. But get this, friends, there's actually another one, and you would believe it if you saw it, but it's a Gem Mint 10. So I was looking at these cards. I know one of them was in really rough shape, but the other ones are like amazing quality. So this is not surprising to me. Again, Japanese cards, if I haven't said it enough, are really high print quality, and because of that, even years after, they retain such great qualities about them that it's, you know, it's foreseeable that they would score 10s really easily. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess a 9. Woof. Okay. All right. Okay, we are on a roll. So that's what? Whoa. That's 2 10s. Let's see where we end up. I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky. We're gonna... Ooh, okay. So Lance's Gyarados now, first edition. So Lance, the Dragon Trainer out of Johto. And here is a really pristine specimen. This is the non-holo version. But holy smokes, we're doing something right here right now, I think. Next up, we have Blaine's Typhlosion. Blaine's Typhlosion, in case anyone's curious, I mean, Typhlosion's been on the up and up, but this is a really dope artwork because look at it. It's so, like, grim looking, which I really love. And this could be, I think it will be, wow. Yo, that is insane. That is, I believe that now makes 4 in a row. 2 Steelixes, yeah, 2 Steelixes plus the last Gyarados, and now another PSA 10. Holy smokes. And finally, but not least, Sabrina's Espeon. Another one of my favorite cards. What did it get? Wow, it got a PSA 10. So that means 5 Japanese Versus cards that I submitted got a 10. And in the last video, we actually had a Tyranitar come back as a 10, which means there were 6 10s from that particular subset of cards that were submitted in this far larger set. Now, finally, but not least, in this is a Misty's Lapras. This is, again, the non-holo version of the card. And I'm going to go ahead and use my PSA 10 guess for the day and say that this card got a... okay, it got a 9. So it did get dinged somewhere for something. Let's take a brief look at this card and see if we can see what it was. The back of the card looks really nice. And honestly, with a holographic card that got with a non-holographic card that got a 9, it is likely not a situation playing out where it's just like, ooh, there was a small scratch on the card. So really couldn't tell you why that got a 9, but again, the differences between a 9 and a 10 are so minute at this point that it is physically difficult to really kind of point to any one thing. Now, friends, with that said, we now move into my favorite era of Pokemon cards. We are now officially moving into the EX era. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with cards out of the very first of the EX sets, EX Ruby and Sapphire, launching in English in 2003. We have Chansey EX. And as you can see, it has the E-Series strip down at the bottom because the Pokemon Company was just transitioning out from the Skyridge sets, so they retain the E-Series strip in order to increase the functionality of the cards. This ended up getting a PSA 5, a PSA 6, okay. Now, in case anyone's curious why I was so pessimistic about this card, the amount of holographic foil on this card is so crazy that it's impossible to just sit here and be like, oh, you know what's going to happen? It's going to do really, really well. So, in my opinion, you know, you're buying these cards basically in bulk. So at this point, it's kind of like, you know, to expect a high quality hit is going to be insane. Here is another version of that card. As you know, some of these cards were duplicates, if not triplicates. And part of the reason behind that was hopefully one can get a better grade than the other. Here is another Chansey EX. I'm going to go ahead and guess a 6 as well. Okay, part of the reason I guess the 6 for this particular card is because of that centering. So you can see over here how thick that border is compared to over here, I'm not necessarily sure where the border is actually supposed to stop for E-Series cards, but I can tell you right up here that this is definitely off-center left to right. So that alone probably gave it everything it needed in order to be a 6. Alright friends, next up we have a Aerodactyl EX out of EX Sandstorm. So this is another one of those cards, really cool CGI artwork going on. You can see the, you know, really classic EX era look and vibe to these cards. And I just really love any and all of these cards. So I'm actually very excited to have some of these in the collection. I know I've been more or less broadcasting that many of these cards will be up for sale. Some of these EX cards, however, may end up getting added to my personal collection. This card ended up getting a 7, and I can honestly see why just looking at the back of the card. But honestly, super happy about that because it's better than the 6s I got with a Chansey. Here's an Aggron EX out of Sandstorm as well. Again, very similar aesthetic. This is a steel type Pokemon, which is pretty cool. It also has a very heavy retreat cost of 4 different energies in order to be withdrawn. So the retreat cost is very high on this card. This card ended up getting a PSA 7. Very cool. So this card, one of the very first times that Aggron ends up being a Pokemon card, which is nice. Here is a Raichu EX out of Sandstorm. This is a fan favorite Pokemon card because A, it's Raichu, but B, because look at that artwork. It's so cool. It looks like it's almost underwater, but it also kind of looks like a Tesla ball. So I don't know which of the two it ends up really truly looking like, but you gotta love the artwork that they put here. It was very underappreciated for a very long time. This card ended up getting a PSA 7, which is pretty cool. And here we have a card that is a big sleeper, if you ask me. When people think of Typhlosion, they usually run to the T17, but this card is just as cool. Look how menacing that Typhlosion looks. Ooh, it got a 3. So let's see why it got a 3. I'm really curious. I think I see why. I think over here on the side of this card, it's picking up slightly. And because it's picking up and crumpled a little bit, I think that's why it got the 3. Otherwise, I think this card could have got a 7. The good news is that I personally also submitted a Typhlosion EX, and I think that card is going to do a lot better. But let's find out. Next up, we have a Altaria. And this is really cool. This is now out of EX Dragon, and this card is pretty nifty because It's just a plain old holo card, but I love how it looks. This is one of the first times this Pokemon was featured on a Pokemon card, which was also really nice. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a peek at this card. Here's a reverse foil Houndoom. This is a mint 9, so that's actually a very high grade for this card. I guess they couldn't find much wrong with it, but I'm sure there's some speckling at the back that kept it from getting the 10, although I have been wrong before. And if you notice, there's also a white dot right there, so that's also pretty interesting. So it is a little bit of an error on the Pokemon Company's part. Here is another duplicate version of that card. This one got a PSA 6, which is honestly not bad. You know, it's always good because I guess in theory, if you wanted to, you could sell the 6 and keep the 9, or vice versa, and, you know, still have a pretty nifty set of cards. We're down to the final 4, friends, and first up we have, out of EX Dragon, a Golem EX. This card ended up getting a 6, and as you can see, it's a pretty consistent trend. It's basically, you know, they'll get 6s, maybe if you're lucky they'll get 7s. I don't think we've seen an 8 yet, but I could be wrong. Here's a Macargo EX out of EX Dragon, and as you can see, so the cards are starting to slowly evolve in the way that they're showing up. You saw at the beginning, like the Chansey, it was very overdone almost. As you can see, by the time they got to EX Dragon, they were kind of toning it down a little bit and really kind of letting the colors and the computer animation really pop out. So the card is very 2003, but it got a 5, and honestly, when it's a 5, it usually means to say there's some sort of creasing going on. And I actually see exactly what went on. It looks like the card was like pinched right here. Yeah, so you can see it right there. Again, I don't recall that being on this card when it was sent in, but again, I could be wrong. It could have been damaged during shipping. It's one of those situations where honestly there's so many cards, it could be difficult to isolate and identify any one. Here's a Macargo EX, again a duplicate. This one got a 6, which is better, I guess, and immediately I think I'm gonna go looking. PSA 6s, I feel like that's the borderline. Like, you can have really scratched up surfaces and be fine and get a 6, but you, like, to get a 5, you really need to have like a dent in the card. Finally but not least, we have a Muck EX out of EX Dragon. Here's a really gooey looking card. I feel like this is like Fossil, but just reprinted in the 3rd gen. As you can see, really interesting looking artwork. They really kind of leaned heavily on the generation of computer graphics, and I'm actually okay with that because, again, historically these cards are going down as some of the rarest. And we got a PSA 8 to wrap up the video. Alrighty, friends, thank you again for checking out today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, all of these cards, or the fair majority of them, will be going up for sale if they are not already sold. So if you're interested in any one of the cards, make sure to reach out to me, let me know, either via Instagram and or my email contact down below. With that said, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you think I've earned your subscription. Don't forget to check out all of the other PSA Graded Returns if you are a fan of that type of Pokemon content. Thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you real soon. Peace.